Okay, looks like
live.
we are live. Patrick's doing a quick tech check.
Sure.
Tech. 1, 2.
This is what you have to look forward to, Rob.
Hey everybody, if you're chiming in and watching this, we are live, officially live with Robb Valentyn.
You got it.
Hey, all right, I got it. Cool. And we'll get to know Robb and how he fits in the picture here in a minute. But we're going to kind of kick off our interview time here, reminding what are we doing here, Patrick Gray?
So if you're unaware, maybe this is the first time you've seen one of these videos with someone from the MDA or Muscular Dystrophy Association. Justin and I, long story short, pushed him in his wheelchair 500 miles across Spain, led to a film, some books, and some really cool opportunities to support some great causes. Probably the most important to Justin and I is the MDA. I mean, this is an organization that does amazing things. And so if you're not familiar with it, the Muscular Dystrophy Association, or MDA, they have what's called the MDA Camp, MDA summer camps, usually every year. Been doing this for 65 years. And I should say it has been every year, but the last 2 years, it's been virtual.
Yeah.
So this year, they're going to do a virtual option as well as going back into the live setting,
Woo-hoo!
which is huge, but it also, there is. Yeah, Rob's excited because Rob's very, very involved here. But there's a cost to this. It costs about $2,000 a child to send them. And this is at no cost to parents. This is all done through donations, through fundraising. And so we are using our film, I'll Push You, the story of our journey across Spain, pushing Justin in his chair, to raise money to send kids to camp. So you can buy tickets at illpushyou.com/MDA, and a big chunk of proceeds goes to support these kids, as well as 100% donations and that kind of stuff goes to get kids to camp. And so we're here with Robb to talk about his experience.
Yeah, Robb. Thanks, man.
How we
thanks
doing?
for joining us. And thanks for
good to see you, gentlemen.
letting us do a quick pitch.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit of a background, where you are, what do you do, and how you first got introduced to MDA camps.
Sure. Robb Valentyn is the name. I'm a Gemini. I like long. No, it's I'm from a small town in northern Wisconsin near Green Bay. Sore subject this week, but Little Chute is the name of the town I'm from. And I live in Chicago now. 33 years old. Been in Chicago for the last 7 years, working still. Doing some volunteering at the MDA. It's nice the headquarters are here, so I get a little more involved that way. But I've been involved with the summer camp in Wisconsin since I was 17. So this will be year 17 in 2022 that I've been involved with it in various capacities. And yeah, I mean, I know you asked how that happened, and if I'm being candid, it was chasing a girl in high school. She was doing it, great heart, and she's like, "You should do it." And I was like, "Well, yeah, totally. Like, if you're going, I'll go." And then it just turned into a thing I loved. So just kind of stuck with it, and been involved in a couple different capacities, and between doing some endurance training, some marathons, things like that, and then just doing the camp, and then kind of staying close to the kids and the families and all that good stuff.
Very, very cool, man. That's awesome.
A high school crush.
Yes.
Led to 17 years of volunteering at the MDA.
It's one of those things that the crush the flame went out, we'll say. Sure. But it started this fire. Look at that for an analogy out of the gate.
Yeah.
Started the fire here.
Does she know that she's responsible for this in some way, shape, or form?
She does. So I've done a few. My buddy Max and I have done, when we do the fundraisers, we do some videos and things like that, and I've referenced it before in the story. Awesome. And she's awesome. Yeah, she enjoys that. Very, very happy, married with children now. So it's all's well that ends well.
That's great,
man. Cool, man.
That's very cool.
That's awesome.
So 17 years, my goodness. So how many years have you been at camp? Have you been camp all 17 years?
Well, other than the last 2, which were remote, I still did it. But yeah, it was. I did the first 8 years. I was in the cabins, just matched up with a camper.
Right.
And then we have all program staff with just folks that'll run, say, the sports and rec program or the arts and crafts, people who do songs, things like that, who are more just kind of floaters that are still helping, but aren't matched up directly with a camper. And I did that now for the past 9 years.
Wow,
Dude,
that's cool, man.
it's amazing. It's amazing.
So let me ask you a question here. Thinking back about that kind of the first time um, being matched with a camper. What can you think back about kind of what was that like for you? I mean, do you have a medical background? Do you have like at that time, did you have any of that background at all? None?
No, that's a good question. I mean, I was, like I said, 17 years, 16. It was 17, and I didn't have a clue what I was getting into. It was literally just, oh, Maggie's going, I'll sign up. And then it was just kind of get thrown in, and here's your camper. And I think I look back at it now as an adult, and I think it was better in that moment to be 17 and just kind of oblivious. Like, it's a little bit more of an awkward dynamic now than it was then, when there's 50 volunteers getting matched up with 50 campers, and it's just, okay, here we go. Now we're off. We're going to the lake. We're doing this. We're doing that. Getting away from the parents is basically the goal. But no, I think just being a little bit naive made it a very, very easy, seamless conversation.
Nice.
That is so cool.
Cool.
I remember the first time you showered me. It was quite hilarious.
That was something else. That was new territory, to say the least.
We won't go into details, but
that's one of those
Gotta be
things
done,
too,
right?
that it's just like you don't have time to think about it. It's just, hey, okay, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to have those veteran volunteers who have been there for
Right.
a long, and the veteran campers too, who can kind of guide you through. And I'm sure, in your case too, it's like, what works for you. And it's now me as the volunteer, I adapt accordingly.
Right.
So if you ask questions and you stay on their page and empathize, it's one of those things that just happens.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one aspect in some of these interviews we've done with past campers that I love, is that the independence that it's giving these kids. It's giving them some control, giving them the opportunity to communicate really clearly about what they need and what their history and their normal day looks like, so that someone else can step into that role. That's a pretty significant skill to learn at age 8, 9, 10. That some of these kids are pretty young, and I got to imagine that's going to serve them so well in the future on all fronts, just being able to communicate and articulate what they want and need with someone outside of their family.
For sure. And I would even double down on that to say, having the group dynamic that they're unaccustomed to, right? Like that.
Right.
Most of the time there's maybe one or two kids in their situation within the framework of their school or something along those lines. Whereas now they're learning from each other.
Right.
Too. Some are a little more shy, or some are a little more reserved. Well, you just saw Joe over there do it, and he walked through it, and it's all fine. And I think that sort of dynamic really speaks to what the camp experience is. It's that group dynamic.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself, like, as a volunteer and helping kids in different aspects, do you find yourself being more of the encourager or the like what kind of role do you just kind of I guess role that you would play in their lives during that week? Like,
It's
a peek into that.
I think anybody who is watching that has come to the camp that I volunteer at, I got to be honest to them now and not lie and say, well, I'm a big positive. I'm always positive, but I'm just kind of the scapegoat for most of the kids. It's fun to make fun of Rob. It's you just kind of play that role, and I'm the obnoxious one, throwing stuff, being loud, and just kind of having a good time. And obviously there's things that go on behind the scenes, but as far as the in-person stuff, it's happy-go-lucky, let's have a good time, and it's about the kids. That's really the role that we play out front.
So you can't clown, is what you're saying?
You can't. Sorry, what was that? I
said, so you're the camp clown.
I think that's a good way to put it. I think most of the campers would agree with that. Yeah.
That'd probably be my role.
It's a good role, man. It's super easy one when it's it's my genuine existence too. So it helps to just not have.
We'd be like three peas in a pod.
Oh gosh,
that's right. Yeah, we'll talk after the show.
We'd probably find a way to get into some serious trouble.
Yeah, we would.
100%.
Oh man. Well, Rob, so with 17 years, I mean, you got a ton of experience. What's, from your perspective, the most significant benefit of the camps? Like what you've seen? Have you seen family dynamics play out? You've seen kids, you've seen parents, you've probably seen everything.
Yeah. I think it would come back again to just folks, the kids who find themselves in a situation where they've never had more than one or two people who have the same lifestyle that they have in the same facility for a week, right? It's a stay away camp. It's a week, you're away from your parents, and you've got 50 kids who deal with the same ups and downs that you deal with every single day. And just having that dynamic and being able to be like, okay, this is normal. Like there's nothing different here. And everybody has the same struggle. So I think getting the chance to see it in other people it opens the door to so many things, because then the other side of that is it just builds up your network as a kid. Even there's kids I've seen come to camp at 5 years old that are now 20, 22, graduating college and, getting a law degree, doing all these things that I think a lot of the campers without something like camp would feel that they just maybe didn't have the necessary capacities to do it, the facilities to do it. The roadblocks would be there, that I think having those relationships, it breaks down those roadblocks, just like networking in the corporate world or networking in any capacity,
Well, huge. and that's why we're doing what we're doing to help continue doing that as much as we can, to help support volunteers like you, campers, like some of the kids we've met. We're having another chat tomorrow with another camper. And just to hear just kind of a peek behind the curtain, because we were saying this yesterday on a call on one of our lives that we did, that, you can just say, oh yeah, we're going to camp. But for the average kid, that's or a kid with a disability like that, with a neuromuscular disease or something, it's not an easy thing for them at all.
Right.
And
so much that goes into
so many hurdles that you have to get over. And so I'll do a quick plug here of why we're doing this. We're helping support the MDA. So if you'd like to buy a ticket to watch our movie, I'll Push You, where Patrick pushed me in a wheelchair, 500 miles. Our goal is to send 500 kids to summer camp, MDA camp. So if you'd like to learn more about that, go to allpushyou.com/MDA. There's also a link in the post if you'd like to check that out. There's different packages to help support. You can donate on top of that as well with continual donations and whatnot. So, and if you've already seen our movie, spread the word. Tell people about it. Comment below this video and tag somebody or tag 20 people, whatever that is. We need to spread the word. Yeah, everybody. So, that was a kind of a brief intermission. Intermission.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Favorite camp story. You got 17 years of them. What's your favorite camp story?
Ooh, that's where it's like I debated when I saw this question, because it was one of those things where I didn't see these questions. This is all ad lib. No, but it's one of those things where you play the clown role, so there's great stories there. But I went with the serious one because I think it is a really good one. But we had a volunteer's parent who was a donor to camp, had come on Press and Visitors Day, just to kind of walk around and then see the kids, see the camp, all of that. And I was talking to her, kind of just rubbing elbows with the sponsors and trying to just keep them guided, go in the right directions, things like that. I was talking to her down by the waterfront for 5 minutes, and then I had to jump somewhere else. And she made a comment that it stuck with me, because we had the boat out. So we have kids out on the boat, right? And when we do that, there's anywhere from 5 to 10 wheelchairs that we have to line up by the dock so that when they get back in, so I've looked at this for 15 years it was 14 years at the time, as just like, these are in the way, trying to do stuff, trying to like run around and get kids moving. These wheelchairs are in the way. She looked over with a completely different lens, and she said, it's so cool to see all of these empty wheelchairs. And I had to pause. Like, I get teary-eyed now thinking about it, because it is so cool to see that many empty wheelchairs. And it's, how often do you get to see that? And it helped me kind of reset and be like, you know what? These aren't just in the way right now. It's a huge symbolic thing to have them have the ability to be out on the boat and the ability to leave the confines in the wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That is a great story. Yeah. And I was, and I'll get kind of my own personal lens here, because I live life in a wheelchair every day of my life, and I'm in my chair from the moment I get up until, I get out of bed until I go to bed at night. And I've been put into a boat. I've been lifted into other things. And I can tell you, it's like, and it's really hard to describe to somebody, but I can imagine as a kid, a child experiencing this too is probably even greater than my own personal experience. It's that when I'm lifted out of my chair and put into a boat or to a pool or whatever that is, it automatically, it just makes me like everybody else, because I'm always like the friend I'm the only one in the room, usually in my life, that I'm the only one in a chair. And, I can go into a room, there'll be 200 people in there and I'll be the only one. There could be 1,000 people in this room and I'll be the only one in a chair. And so it becomes it can be isolating and very, but as a kid, even more so. So I can just see how exponentially profound it can be to see all those wheelchairs lined up on the dock and knowing that all of those kids were out just being kids.
Yeah.
And that is so profound and so deep that I think I want people to realize that if they're listening to this and watching this, is that it is not just like, yeah, I just go to camp and blah, blah, blah. It's so much more, so much more on so many levels. And so that is a fantastic story, man. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rob.
No, it's short. I was just going to say, like, to your point, I tell anybody who asks about camp, it's 51% of who I am. Like it's shaped so many different things. Just as being a volunteer, 17-year-old kid chasing a girl, and what it turned into for me as just a volunteer. And then you get the added impact of I guess the stronger impact, obviously, of the kids, of what it means to them for you to be there. So just to double down on that.
Well, I have a question for you. What are some of the hurdles you've seen kids overcome at their time at these MDA camps? Can you give a couple examples of things you've seen?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and I would go back. It's a throwback here to my first year, and it was we were in a spot where my camper at the time loved the water, loved looking at the water, loved fishing. Pontoon boat, absolutely not. He didn't feel comfortable with people lifting him. He didn't feel comfortable with, what happens on the boat. What if we go in? There's a lot of scary factors that you don't really necessarily think about. And I was a 17-year-old kid, so I probably, and I'll apologize for this to him later, I probably didn't handle it the best. Where I'm like, let's get on the boat. Let's just get on the boat. Let's get on the boat. Yeah. And he was scared enough. Convincing and enough big enough dudes that came around. I'm like, if this guy can't lift you, like, I don't know who can. And there's two of them. So that alleviated that fear, got him on the boat. And then we get back and no, I'm not getting off, man. We're going back out. Let's go. Yeah. Every single day then, boat. So it was his first time doing it. And it was a super cool thing. And then just an immediate shift, which was what we hoped when we said get on the boat, but it was great to see it actually come to fruition.
That's so cool. It reminds me of there's a movie, Indiana Jones. I think it's the last one, The Last Crusade. And he's going through, at the very, if you haven't seen the movie by now, I'm gonna spoil it for you. So if you have, it's kind of on you, but there's a point where he faces this black divide, and he's got to, he sees the door on the cross. Or across the way. He's like, and it's just emptiness. And he realizes, I got to take a step of faith here. I got to take a step out. And he puts his foot out, and then he lands on a bridge that's painted, that's like invisible. And it's invisible to the naked eye unless you look at it from the side. And so it's those experiences where you realize, okay, you have somebody there to catch you. You have that safety net, but they have to take that step. Right. Which is a great kind of segue to my final question I have for you, unless you have any ones. No. Is what would you say to anybody who's maybe watching this is like, you know what, maybe I could be a volunteer at one of these summer camps. what would you say to that person to take that step?
Man, I mean, in my circumstance, like I said, it genuinely is about 51% of who I am and my background. So it's just the amount of opportunities that come with that, the amount of relationships that come with that, the impact of doing something significant for someone else and doing that in that sort of context, right? Where it's a group setting and it's a blast. Like I went there chasing a girl, and it was the most fun, and it still is the most fun I have every single year. It's what I look forward to the most. And I've done some cool stuff. Like I've traveled to Costa Rica all year this year, still wanted to be in camp. Like it's better than really anything that you can put your finger on as far as experience goes, and as far as just feeling fulfilled, I would say goes.
That is so cool. So if anybody's interested in wanting to volunteer, they always need volunteers and helpers.
Absolutely.
Always. So what's the link? Did we find out if it's mda.org/camps? Camp or camps?
I'm pretty sure it's camp.
Pat is looking it up real quick. He's got his handy dandy laptop. It's either camp singular, camp singular, mda.org/camp.
Yeah.
If
it's technically summer-camp, but if you just do camp, it'll take you there. So
cool.
Yeah.
If you'd like to volunteer for this upcoming summer, if there's a camp near you, and just let everyone know again, we've stressed this. We'll stress it again that camp information is coming very, very soon from the MDA, and they'll have exactly where they're going to be around the country and the camps that they're going to be offering in person. And then there's always the virtual if there isn't one near you. So mda.org/camp, or you can also get introduced to our movie and what we're doing with this initiative by visiting illpushyou.com/MDA to watch our movie for a limited time. Sunday. And
real quick,
is the last day. Yes.
Nothing's perfect, right? I just got a comment from Carrie Allen Chase DeSalvo. Is that right? Regarding an order not going through. I just put a link there for if you have any issues to MDA or to our support page. We'll make sure we get you taken care of one way or the other, whether it's a ticket or it's a donation directly to the MDA. We want to make sure that we get you squared away. So please reach out to that. And I also tagged Autumn Hume, who is our local MDA representative here in Boise, and she can help you out as well. So we'll get you squared away.
The technical gremlins are at it again.
Right?
Look at that customer service, just in the moment. Like, keep
that's how we do it, man.
Let's go.
We're on it.
Hey, you know what? Hang on, we got some more comments here.
Oh, we have some comments.
What are we missing here?
Ooh,
there we
okay.
go. Let's see. So, yep. So Autumn's just taking care of that. Oh, it's all links about the support. So
cool.
There we go. Okay. And the link to summer camp. Thank you, Autumn, for posting that. There we go.
Awesome. Well, Rob, is there anything you want to say or have a question for us or anything you'd like to address before we wrap up our time today?
No, two quick things. One, plug for camp. Like you said, come to camp. It's amazing. Find the one around you. Find one somewhere else. I've been to camps all over. Just get to camp. You'll enjoy it. Secondly, just thank you for taking the time. Your guys' story is incredible. I've watched it in the past and then watched it this week catching up, and I think it's a great thing. So just appreciate you guys having me.
Hey, thanks, man. Rob. Appreciate it.
Rob.
And thank you all for watching this. If you're watching this at a later date, just chime in, say hello. And if you have any questions for us or for Rob, just post it below this video and we'll answer them. As much as we can. So that's it for today, everybody. And we're going to end this broadcast and say hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Thanks, Rob. See you, man.
You bet. We'll see you.